Welcome back, everybody. Today I want to talk about some special cases we talked about fairly quickly in class today when we have variables on both sides and what that actually means when we get to that point. So just like we talked about today, the first thing we want to do when we have our parentheses is to use the distribution property. Now we did review this in class kind of quickly today, and then you guys practiced a little bit, but then we also had a couple special cases we talked about at the very end. So that's what I'm going to review mostly today. So the first thing we need to do is the distribution property. We need to distribute this 2 throughout the rest of the parentheses. So what we need to do is we need to take the 2 and multiply it to the 3, and then we're going to take this 2 and multiply it to the 7. So when we do that, 2 times 3 is 6, so we get 6d, and then 2 times 7 is 14, and it's a positive 14, so we'll put plus 14. There's nothing to do on the right-hand side because there's no parentheses, so there's no distribution at all. So I'll just bring that down to 5 plus 6d. Now, like we've done in the past, we've got variables on both sides. And I'll put that down there so we see there's a left and a right. First thing we talked about was to move all the variables to one side. So I'm going to take my 6d and I'm going to subtract 6d to get it to cancel out, and then I'll subtract my 6d over here. Now, what we noticed today is when I do 6d minus 6d on here, I get my 0. In other words, those cancel out. So the only thing I have left on the left-hand side is my positive 14. And on the right-hand side, you'll notice 6d minus 6d on this one cancels out as well. So we just have 5. Now we talked about this today. Is this a true statement or is this a false statement? We have 14 equaling 5. Well, obviously that is not the case. So when this happens, there are no numbers or no solution, or that sign there, for this kind of problem. In other words, there's nothing I can plug into that d and to that d where this side will ever equal this side. So there is no solution at all on that problem, and that is your final answer, no solution. Okay, and that only happens when this does not equal this. Let's talk about another one. Let me move this up and do this next kind of problem. Now we're going to do the distribution on both sides for this one, so let me go ahead and do that fairly quickly. 4 times 3 is 12, so I get 12x, and 4 times the 2 is 8, so it's going to be minus 8. On this side, we get 2 times 6, which is 12, so I get 12x, and then 2 times my negative 4 is negative 8. Now some of you may see this already. 12x equals 8 and 12x equals 8. We have the exact same equation. If you don't see it, let's go ahead and finish the problem and kind of talk about it that way also. So I'm going to subtract my 12x from this side. I'm going to subtract my 12x from this side. That cancels out, and I get a negative 8 left over on the left. I get a negative 8 left over on the right. You'll notice we end up with the same answer, and this is a true statement. So when this is a true statement, we can go back up either to these x's or even going down to this part of the equation. Whatever we plug into our x here, we plug in the same exact number, we're going to get the same answer. So when this equals this, our final answer is all numbers. So we talked about in class today the difference between when we get all numbers, they have to be equal, and then back up here again, when they're not equal, there's no solution. And this only works out when our variables are canceled out. Thank you. Good luck up on your homework, and I'll see you tomorrow.